Welcome to percent concentration of solutions. In this video, we're going to learn how to calculate the mass percent of a solution, and we're going to calculate the mass of a solute or solvent in a solution. But first, what is mass percent? Mass percent is one way of expressing the concentration of solution. It is the amount of solute dissolved in 100 units of a solution. And remember that percent means 100. So if we have, for example, we have 1% of milk, this means that there is 1 gram. So we have 1 gram of fat for each 100 gram, for each 100 gram of 1% milk. Okay. The same thing with 3.5% milk. For example, we have 3.5%. So we have 3.5 gram of fat for each 100 gram of 3.5 percent milk. Okay. Okay, so how do we calculate for the mass percent of a solution? Let's take a look at these equations right here. Percent by mass is calculated by dividing the mass of the solute to the mass of solution, then multiply it by 100. And then if we calculate for the mass of solute, that is equal to the percent by mass times the mass of the solution, and then divide it by 100 so that you will cancel the percent. Okay. And then mass of solution is calculated by getting the mass of the solvent plus the mass of the solute. So if you are looking for the mass of solvent, you need to know the mass of the solution first before you can calculate for the mass of each of this component, solvent or solute. Okay, let's take a look at this first example for solving the percent by mass of wine. Okay, a glass of wine contains 24-gram alcohol and remaining is water. The mass of water in the wine is 211 gram. What is the percent by mass composition of the wine? So let's take a look at this. The given, we have 24 gram of alcohol. This is now the mass of solute. Okay. And then we also have the 211 gram right here, which is the mass of water. That means this is just the mass of solvent. Okay, it's not the mass of solution. Remember, it says the mass of the water is 211 grams. So that means that is the mass of the solvent. Okay, so percent by mass equals the mass of solute divided by the mass of the solution times 100. Okay, so the mass of solute is 24 gram divided by the mass of solution. Remember that the mass of solution equals the mass of solvent plus the mass of solute. Okay, so in here, our solvent is water and our solute is the alcohol, which is 24 gram alcohol plus the mass of the water, which is 211 gram times 100. Okay, so that's going to be 24 gram divided by 24 plus 211. That's going to be, okay, so 24 plus 211, that gives you 235 gram times 100. And now you're ready to divide the 24 divided by 235 gram times 100, and that would give you 10.21. So 10.21%. Remember, percent of wine. Okay, so that's how you calculate for the percent by mass of a given solution. Okay. All right, let's take a look for this problem on solving for the mass of the solute. Remember, the solute is the one that is dissolved in a given amount of solvent. Okay. So how much sodium fluoride is in a 221 gram of tube of toothpaste? So this is now the mass of the solution. Okay. Mass of the solution is 221. And of course, this is our percent by mass. Okay. And we're looking for this mass of the solute sodium fluoride, mass of solute. And that is what we're looking for. Okay. All right. So our formula, percent by mass equals mass of solute, okay, divided by the mass of solution times 100. Okay. All right, so our mass of solute is equal to what is our mass of solute? That's unknown, right? Okay, so 0.24%. Okay, and then our mass of solute, let's say X, that is what we're looking for, and the mass of the solution is 221 gram. Okay, times 100. So if we're looking for X, we need to multiply these two. Okay, so that's gonna be 0.24 times 221. You have to divide it by 100. Okay, because percent means 100, so that you can cancel out the percent right here, because you're looking for the mass of solute, which is gonna be in gram. Okay, so if you don't want to divide by 100, make sure you change this into a decimal by dividing it by 100. Okay, the 0.24. But since we divided here already, we're good. Okay. So 0.24 times 221 equals divided by 100, and that should give you 0.53 grams. Okay. So grams of solute, which is sodium fluoride, NaF. Okay. So this is how you are going to calculate for the mass of solute. Okay. And then let's go for calculating the mass of solvent. Okay. Solvent, remember when I told you before you determine the mass of the solvent, you should know the mass of the solution first. Okay. So let's say this is 7.8 aqueous solution of glucose using 5 gram of glucose. How do you prepare this solution? Okay. So 7.8% is our percent by mass. And then 5.0 gram of glucose, this is the mass of the solute. Okay, mass of the solute. So how would you make that solution? All right, so our formula, percent by mass equals mass of solute divided by the mass of the solution. Okay, and of course multiply by 100. All right, so our percent by mass is 7.8%, and then the mass of solute is 5.0 gram of glucose divided by the mass of solution, which is what we're looking for. The mass of the solution, which is what we're looking for, and then multiply by 100. Okay. So if we're looking for X, the mass of solution equals 5 grams, 5.0 times 100 divided by 7.8. Okay, let's take a look. So it's gonna be 5.0 times 100 equals, then divided by 7.8 equals 64.1 gram. So this is equal to 64.1 gram. This is now the mass of solution. Okay, So our mass of solution is 64.1 gram of solution, which is glucose. We call that glucose solution. All right. So now we're going to look for the mass of the solvent, because we need to know how much of the solute, how much of the solvent to make the mass of the solution, okay, which is 64.1 gram. Okay, so now let's get the mass of solvent. Mass solvent equals mass solution, okay, minus the mass of solute. Okay, so the mass of solvent is 64.1 gram minus the mass of solute, which is 5.0 gram of glucose. Okay, and then this gives you 64.1 minus 5.0. So 64.1 minus 5.0, that would give you 59.1 gram of the water, which is now your solvent. Okay. All right. So how do you prepare now this solution? It says here, how could you make 7.8% aqueous solution of glucose using 5.0 gram of glucose? So we have now the mass of the solvent. This is how you prepare it. Okay. So get glucose, which is 5 gram, or prepare 5 gram of glucose, and then of course, because that is the mass of your solute, okay, and then you add that with 59.1 gram of water, because that is the mass of your solvent, which is water. So H2O, 59.1 gram. You add this together, dissolve the glucose into a beaker of water, which is 59.1 gram. That is how you're going to prepare the 64.1 gram glucose solution. Okay. And of course, this 64 gram of glucose solution is actually made up of 7.8%. The concentration is 7.8% of aqueous solution of glucose solution. Okay. All right, let's take a look for another problem. Solving the percent by mass. So we have calculated percent by mass in our first example, and then we calculated for the percent by the mass of the solute, and we calculated mass of the solvent, so that we can determine the mass of the solution, and we can determine how to prepare the solution also. Okay, and the last one is solving for the percent by mass. A 23 gram of sodium chloride is dissolved in 125 gram of water. What is the percent by mass of sodium chloride solution? So first is to determine what the given are. So we have 23 gram of sodium chloride. This is the mass of solute. And of course, the 125 gram, that is the mass of the solvent. Okay, so mass of the solvent. Remember our formula, percent by mass equals mass of solute divided by the mass of solution times 100. Okay. So if we're looking for the percent by mass, divide the mass of solute, which is 23 gram, divided by the mass of solution. Remember again that the mass of your solution is made up by the mass of your solvent, okay, plus the mass of your solute. Okay, so the mass of solute is 23 gram plus the mass of solvent, which is 125 gram, then multiply by 100. Okay, so we have 23 plus 125 Okay, that gives you 148. So 23 gram divided by 148 gram times 100. Okay. Don't forget to cancel out your unit. If it's on the top and on the bottom and they're the same unit, you have to cancel them out. Okay. So 23 divided by 148 times 100. Okay, so that's gonna give you 15.5%. Okay, so 15.5% of NaCl solution. This is the sodium chloride solution. Okay. Okay, this concludes our lesson on percent by mass, and it's only another way of solving for the concentration of a solution or expressing the concentration of a solution. So if you have question, let me know. And once again, thank you for joining me for this lesson. And never stop learning because life never stops teaching. You have a great day.